we liking our angle?
This angle seems good to me.
That angle seems good. What
This one up here?
Yeah. Multi-dimensional.
I like it. It's got the Barney in the back.
Good.
I think that looks good. Just for our Facebook people, first thing we want you to know, if you're on Facebook, that's down here, is and we're gonna start that one too. Well, let's do it right.
We did it.
Oh, we can't. We got to turn on the lav mics.
We need to plug in the. Oh, is it plugged in?
I don't know.
Yes, it is.
Nothing's.
Yes.
This is green. That's green.
That's
we're gonna
green.
start
We're
over.
green.
Like, yeah, we're starting it over.
Okay.
There we are. All right. 3, 2, 1, go. All right. Hey there, ho there. Welcome to another episode of the CapmLew podcast with your host CapmLew and your co-host
Luke. Right.
So we're sitting here. Obviously, we're excited. We got the Facebook Live right down there. We've got the Spotify, Spotify, right up there. We're giving you double fist bumps all around. All right. Yeah, turn that straight. There you are. Double fist bumps all around. Luke knows this, but I'm gonna say it to him like I didn't say it to him before, so that you all get the right experience.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So just pretend I didn't tell you that. All right. So, you know, that's not really like my scene. Games of skate.
Yes.
I'm really not into the game of skate because I don't know any tricks.
Yeah.
I ride them. I do.
Yeah, I know. I've seen it. I've seen it.
Don't make me cry.
I told you that in confidence.
Am I a skateboarder? I don't know.
Dear the 9 Club.
Doesn't even matter, and here's why it doesn't matter, because we've got a video version, so
Lovely.
We'll see if that takes care of. And also, word on the streets is that I will probably one day in the next 5 years get better internet service here at the Upper Sanctum.
Nice.
Yep. Judy last night turned to me and said, "Do you want to get T-Mobile internet?" I have no idea. Yeah, he's saying no. All I'm saying is
anecdotal.
It's in the air. Change is in the air. And
where we land, don't know.
When change is in the air, there's opportunity for improvement. So I'm willing to explore this space. It's just make sure I'm green. Yep, we're green.
We're green.
So I watched a game of skate. Now my feed is YouTube, right?
Yes.
My YouTube feed is full of all kinds of skateboard stuff, from Thrasher and like that sort of thing to your Dan Corrigans and your YouTubers, right? Dan Corrigan, John Hill. I watch those as much for the skateboarding as for the how are people doing it? What is the format that's working, and when I go out skateboarding, and I love talking to people, what are they watching? What are the kids watching?
Yeah.
What are the big kids watching? You know, I watched a bit of a Skatopia thing.
Oh, did you really?
Andy Roy, Skatopia, maybe it was 2022 Bowl Bash. Yeah, I try to, I want to connect with people, that's media, mostly, and to learn how to fix a Ford transmission today.
How many views does a Dan Corrigan video get?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. What I do know is it's significant.
Like 150,000 views? Right. Oh.
No, it's fine. Let the Facebook
I know,
face.
it's
That's
fine.
all right. All we have to say to our Facebook people is now there is a non-interactive video version of the format linked below on Spotify.
Yep.
And Spotify for podcasters.
Yes.
Yes.
But it's on. They don't.
Spotify.
That. You can just go
That's
to
what we're
Spotify
using.
and look up the CapmLew podcast, and we're there. Everything moving forward will be video format.
So this game of skate
Go
came
ahead.
at an interesting time because it was Chris Cole
Yes.
versus Mark Suchu.
Yes.
Oh, we have to do.
I know.
We have to
Are you
do.
gonna do it like that?
I am. I'm doing it. Listen, Spotify watchers. You know what?
Oh,
it's already off that way. No, dude.
Pull the top right.
We're doing this. Will it?
Is it the wrong corner?
Will it do this? No, there is no hope.
Okay.
Will it interrupt that?
Shouldn't unless you get a call.
Well,
And
you
then
know.
it will.
It's just then it's part of it.
Dude, but I have to slice them together, and it's such a pain.
How do we change it?
We're gonna have to pull it down.
All right,
Then
we're
swipe
pulling it down.
and do it.
We could start over.
No.
It would be so wrong.
It would would be
All right,
so wrong.
let me try this. Okay, Spotify. Now you're here in the belly of the beast. So if I do this,
It doesn't.
no.
Oh, and it
no.
just stopped it.
Apple. Apple, you ain't shit.
Oh, dude, that was beautiful. Oh,
I'm telling you, dude.
I
Do
feel,
Not Disturb is on, but it didn't give me any time. Give me a break.
yeah,
Unbelievable
boy.
how inconsistent this tech is.
I know.
Unbelievable. And it's not like it could be cool. You gonna be able to do this?
I'll splice them. Yeah, hit it.
All right, so there you are,
We're
Spotify.
back.
Absolutely, we're crushing here in the crushing here. Now I all I need is to hold that side button long enough for it to call 911.
Emergency
And
services.
we swatted ourselves. That's what
Yeah.
happened.
Dude, we got swatted. An entire episode about how we got swatted, but it was actually us.
Listen, we want to be clear to our Spotify viewers. Are you blinking?
Son of a gun, dude.
Why?
I'm green.
Why?
Would it really be the CapmLew podcast if it wasn't like this?
That's what I'm saying. I want to be very clear to our Spotify folks who are joining the podcast in droves
It drove
every day.
one a day at least.
We are being whelmed. We are being adequately whelmed with new listeners and viewers every day. And we just are not committed to...
Inauthenticness.
Yeah, we consider the technological aspects to be part of the joke.
Yes. Yeah, right. It's just this.
So, I watched a game of skate.
Yes.
It was Chris Cole versus Mark Suciu.
What year was it?
It was recent.
Like
It was
in
like
the
this
last
week.
month? Oh,
It was
cool.
like this week.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It was contemporary Chris Cole,
Yes.
and it was Mark Suciu.
Yes.
And you caught a bit of it on that.
Yes.
I was watching a guy do a kind of gifted hater style,
Yeah, sure.
like his head down in the corner.
How? I don't know.
At this point, our young audience is saying, "Okay, boomer," you know. So
I don't know how that works.
I want to green screen it so my actual
So you're
actual
sitting there?
silhouetted outline is out there. Let me just turn this up a little bit like that.
Oh,
there
that's
you go. I love the
beautiful.
bouncy. I love how it's
know, dude.
bouncy.
It's fun.
So anyway, there I am. I'm watching this amazing game of skate. It was deep.
How long was it?
deep.
You can tell how good
It
the game
was
of skate
quite
is by
long.
how long
I think
it
it was
is.
a half hour.
Wow.
I do.
No, it wasn't really.
It was like
Ooh.
300 tricks.
Wow.
One of my first takeaways was these guys are not rolling slowly.
No, they rip, dude. They rip.
Look at that.
Oh, you bastard. Hit okay. We're so green.
It continued.
I think it's working. Dude, this is amazing. These are the dog days. Yes.
Salad days.
Salad days.
These are the days we're gonna miss when
I
everything is smooth,
I know. And we have
And
like
we-
a Terrence in the back who's doing all the tech.
and we're gonna start.
No.
We're gonna start wearing headphones so our heads do
No.
this.
Please. That's nightmare.
Were not easy tricks at all. Very, very difficult tricks.
Yeah.
Very few basics in there.
Yes.
There were a couple of stints where one of them would do a few basics. I think they were trying to fatigue.
Yes, the other one.
Yeah, smart.
Yeah.
It really got to where it was a stamina round.
Yes.
The second thing I noticed about it that I really thought was interesting was that it was 2 generations.
Yeah.
These guys are 20 years apart.
Yes.
By my count. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously they
Sure.
might be 17 years apart. They might be, you know. Our inbox at CapmLew Questions
Yes.
is just packing full of people just giving like these tiny, like nitpicky corrections to us on every little
Yes.
thing. Oh, actually, Lou, they're 17 years apart,
Yes.
not like 20. And I'm like, well,
All right, that's
in what way is 17 not like 20? I mean, 2 is like 20 in as much as it is a number, and
Yes.
and as you know, it's a. Anyway, so I'm watching this and I'm like, these guys are like 2 different generations.
Yeah.
And Chris Cole, when he was young, he looked like a skinny little chicken boo.
I know.
He's very tall.
Yeah.
And Mark and Cole is like a machine.
No, he's insane.
He the exact same trick that Suchu did.
Yes.
That looked like ballet dancing.
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah,
you know,
like a
like
waterfall,
really
yeah.
like kung fu.
Yeah.
Cole does, and it looks like a, I don't know, Viking hammer.
Yeah, right.
You know?
Right.
And I
Yeah.
thought this is one of the coolest examples of just how different it can be.
Yeah, same trick, way two totally different products.
Another thing I thought about was
Mhm.
people are going to love Chris Cole and prefer him because of his history.
Sure.
He was there when skateboarding became rail gap, then something on a block,
Right.
you know,
Yeah,
ledge
right.
ledge trick,
Yeah.
rail gap,
Oh,
where
switch, yeah.
product had to be on the shelf in the right order, where these young guns companies, second generation from Rocco,
Yeah.
they took over and they
Yeah,
really.
Zero and Fallen.
This was back in the days when skate shops could be catty and territorial and still feel entitled to, you know, make money because Nike was fresh and
Yeah.
and like that, and all that is actually fine in the big picture.
It is,
It
yeah.
really is.
The ebb and flow of
As
culture.
I tend to get a little snippy when I see the bullying and of children, and when I see groupthink pointing people toward dying on a couch of heroin.
Yeah.
That sort of thing does tend to rankle a guy.
Sure.
But in the long, people love Cole for his role in Zero and the upcoming of all that.
Yeah.
And that was not my culture in skateboarding at all. I was a punk rocker, surf style skateboarder,
Yeah.
big long Smith grinds, and that's fine. But I was really enjoying watching that. And then Suchu, people are going to love him because the guy is a kinetic, just a tremendously.
Yeah.
I would keep using words like artistic, but it's like kung fu.
Yeah, he's really mastered in
Yeah.
a really elegant way the basics and not so basic movements in
Yeah.
skateboarding.
I felt like the game could have gone either way. Suchu lost, Cole won.
Was it like T? Were they both on T? Or
I can't remember.
Okay, sure.
I seem to remember Cole. I think they may both have been up in the past A.
Okay.
It might have been an A or beyond.
Yeah.
I didn't really absorb winner loser on it. I was too engrossed by the historic and stylistic juxtapositions of
Yes.
the whole thing.
Yeah.
And all in all, it was quite gratifying.
Yeah, that's
It
awesome.
was.
I love that. Yeah.
During the tail end, what I think in retrospect might be the tail end of the rail, rail,
Yeah.
ledge
Yes. Right.
era
Yes.
that was brought to us by the Tom Penny era giving
Yeah.
way to the Muska era,
Yeah.
giving way to the Jamie Thomas era,
Yes.
right?
Right.
And then carrying us forth to now we have the 9 Club era where there's enough nostalgia about it
Yeah.
to just keep content rolling.
Yeah.
And talk about, there's some really good conversations. I'm loving it.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not uncritical. You guys come here to hear that. But I'm loving that this whole thing rolls. So, but during the what I consider to be the opening of the culture,
Mm-hmm. 2012. Would you
maybe
say 15, perhaps?
I would put it in somewhere around there. A skateboard company started. Well, there was mine.
Mm-hmm.
One of the first problems that existed around me, first in 2005 when I started working as a rep in skateboarding, was that I had never been in skateboarding.
Professionally.
Right.
Yeah.
I forewent that route in my life. I had, when I was young in the late 80s and early 90s, I was a good skateboarder. And boy, that's changed.
Yeah.
But I was a good skateboarder, and if I had prioritized skateboarding first in my life, or even a close second,
Mm-hmm.
I most likely would have, quote, gone somewhere, unquote. But if you remember my story about seeing a demo at 12 years old, you would know how unimpressed I am at the look what I can do, show off, now give me stuff.
Yeah.
You know, doing tricks on your skateboard and then being like, Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
You know that character, John Ralphio's sister.
Yes. Yes.
She's like,
dude.
money,
Money, please.
money, please. money.
Oh, Daddy loves you.
And the dad's like, just give her some money. It's easier that way.
Yeah, like a total psychopath. Yeah, that's so
great.
funny.
Yeah, I forgot her name, but she's a great character, and that's doing tricks on a skateboard for money is not the hamster wheel I wanted to get on.
Yeah.
And so I remember in 1991, I went off to college, and there was a skateboarder there who was part of the New Guard. He was watching the Rail Gap stuff.
When was this? 91?
91.
Oh, that was.
Oh, you know what? It wasn't
through.
Rail Gap yet. No, it wasn't yet.
It was.
It was still Ban This
Yeah.
and Shackle Me Not.
Yeah.
But he was doing a whole bunch of like trying to flip out of a blunt.
I mean,
He would go. I love this guy. He's
blunt
a
to
sweet
fakie?
guy. Yeah,
Like,
blunt
okay,
to fakie,
sure,
but
but
then trying, like kick flip out of a blunt.
Yeah.
Type. It's complicated.
Yes.
Complicated small wheel stuff. And he and I went skating one day, and I was just floating ollies off of a little bump.
Of course.
You know,
just as God intended.
nice and fast, come down, float an ollie, and just as far as I could.
Yeah.
Which was also probably relatively high for a guy.
I seen it. Yeah.
And no, better than that.
Oh, even.
Yeah.
Wow.
No,
So
better
you must
than
have
that.
been really
I
flying.
was good. I could ollie flat ground. Well up into the thigh height.
Dang dog.
Yeah.
You were a shredder.
I was a little bit of
shredded,
a little bit of a ripper, but I never went anywhere, did anything, or got a name and went in. When I got into the skateboarding industry, in a very gentle, tiny level, local company, there became this, oh, he's not a real skateboarder. He's never
This was in
filmed
91?
a part. No, this was in 2005.
Oh, okay, later.
And it
Okay,
did say
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah,
they're
sorry.
good. They're
Yeah,
following.
I'm not.
Even though you're lost.
Yeah, it's fine. This is what I bring to the table. Like, hold on, what?
Keep it coming. Keep it coming, brother. So there I am. 2005, 2006, 2007. I had on and off with that brand.
Yeah.
I dealt with some skate park building stuff. And I was fairly low, but then I started my brand in 2008.
Yes.
And then it really became a problem. He was never sponsored. Then it was, by the way, this is not a big chip on my shoulder. This is me talking about what I'm seeing with this game of skate and what our topic is for today.
Sure.
Then it was, he was never sponsored. He never rode for anyone. Because around here you had to at least ride AM for Consolidated in order to buy all of the skate shops and run it with an iron fist.
Yes.
We had two of those guys here.
Yeah, I know. It's
We
crazy.
did. We had
It's
two of
wild.
those guys.
Yeah.
And then after that didn't work, and my work was working, they switched to he's not a skateboarder.
Yeah.
And that landed the Nine Clubs episode on that kind of close to my heart. But again, that chip's been brushed off my shoulder years ago.
Sure.
When someone brings up that you're not a real skateboarder, well, from day one, that always elicited laughter from me, not concern.
It's insane that critique, like, quote unquote, worked with the general skateboarding.
It had teeth.
Yeah, it really
back
had
then.
teeth.
It used to have teeth.
It's wild, man.
If they said you're not a real skateboarder, your business would fail. And that was what they were shooting for. That wasn't about keeping skateboarding safe from anything. That was about trying to get a working man's business to fail.
Yes.
Now there were other people who were less skateboarder than I was.
Yeah.
Who started brands back in that era who didn't suffer any of that because they never picked on people for bullying kids.
Yeah.
And I did. I picked on people when they bullied kids and put out a lot of social media PSAs and things like that. Didn't put people on blast or do any cancel silliness.
Yeah.
But I talked about ideas and stuff. In fact, I found a bunch. I sent you over a story.
I saw one of them.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I found a bunch in my memories. I mean, it's all back there on my Facebook. It's not a boring read.
No.
I mean, I am a little annoying. But I did. I get a little sick of myself reading those old posts.
I know.
But so anyways, here I am.
Mm-hmm.
It's 2008, 2009. And during those years, we found a blog called A-Flux blog.
Sure.
Nolan Johnson.
Oh.
You know him?
Dude, I forgot about Nolan.
With the
what
crust
a beauty,
flap?
dude. Oh, yeah. And
Yeah.
a shredder.
Yeah. Nolan Johnson joined with Jay. What's his name?
Welcome.
This
Yes.
was the start of Welcome.
Yeah.
this crew, the A-Flux crew, had a whole bunch of just real, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And this time, that was where me and the Fickle kids
Yeah.
and Midwest Blue Collar crew, where we really saw what we were doing
Mm-hmm.
with shaped boards and with we're not skating at you, we're skating with you, and
Yeah.
and profiling skateboarding styles that are very diverse
Yeah.
and interesting. And this is going to come all the way to now, because I watched a Vice special on Marby Williams. Marby
Mm-hmm.
has a pro truck on Crux.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Marby is really doing heavy lifting right now because she is trans,
Okay.
and she just got a truck on Crux.
Wow. Okay.
And they just put out a thing on Vice about it that I watched today as well.
Sure.
That sort of thing was not happening back then.
No.
In fact, even girls in skateboarding was not happening back then.
Yeah.
And it's not that long ago.
No.
2005, 8, 10, 12 is not that long ago.
No.
That folks like Mimi Noop
Yeah.
and Cara Beth Burnside were having to do some really heavy lifting.
Yeah, to even survive.
Yeah, and
Right.
Amelia Brodka put out a documentary that was extremely good about the X Games, just dropping the women's competition entirely.
They were just like,
they just
nah.
dropped it, and having to say, hey man, we think that there should be this, and having to convince people that marketing to an entire 100% more people for skateboarding. So anyway, all this stuff to say, Jay, who started Welcome,
Jason Saleya.
Jason Saleya, the Slayer.
The Slayer.
Jason started a really good brand,
Mm-hmm.
not famous for being a great skateboarder.
No.
No, there's no Jason Saleya part on any of the Welcome stuff.
No. Yeah, this is.
It's
They
kinda
have
cool.
like an origin story going on their website, which is pretty
Hey,
interesting.
we've got Thaddeus Collins on the Facebook feed
Oh,
down here. Thaddeus,
what
we're
up?
we're on Spotify now.
Yes.
You can find our video feed on Spotify. Not live though. Nice to
Yes.
have you with us.
Absolutely.
Exciting.
Yes, that's awesome.
Exciting.
Do you want me to read this? This is actually really interesting.
What is it?
It's the origin story, and then they have our creed. The creed is really interesting.
Let's listen
as well.
to the creed
Okay.
of Welcome.
Yes.
Rare to find a brand that has a creed.
Yeah, kind of like a
Fickle,
mission statement.
Fickle had kind of a creed. We didn't call it a creed, but we
Yeah.
had sort of an opening
Yeah.
splash page.
Here,
What is it?
Here we go. Welcome is a brand built on the foundations of creativity, individuality, and nonconformity. It is a celebration of the unexpected, a nod to the power of juxtaposition and the beauty that can emerge from unlikely combinations. We are more than just a skateboarding brand. We are a community of individuals who believe in breaking boundaries and forging our own paths. Our team is not made up of just the most technically skilled skateboarders, but rather individuals who inspire us and make us want to skate.
There it is.
We believe in fostering a sense of community and family, both within our team and within our fans and consumers. We see skateboarding as an art form, and our products reflect that. From the design of our boards and apparel to the way we present ourselves as a brand, we strive to bring joy and inspiration to those who engage with us. If those beliefs speak to you, you're welcome.
Okay, here you have a skateboard branding
Yes.
as a job
Yeah,
that is extremely open set.
yes,
Their name is Welcome.
yeah,
And now you can talk about the history of the company and certain corporate alliances and things like that. Whatever, dude. The devil is in the details. And I think Jason does the art.
he does. He
Yes.
said, unable
Jason
to
does
afford
the
a
art.
professional artist, Jason began illustrating for Welcome out of necessity. Having no real experience with skateboarding design, many of the first graphics were drawn with a Sharpie on the floor of his home.
Heck yeah, bud.
When it came to the shapes of the boards, he focused on creating a hybrid of the shapes of past generations while updating them with modern dimensions, molds, and functionality.
That's outstanding.
Yeah, it's actually really
It's
cool.
just outstanding.
That's very cool.
So there you have. By the way, that's very similar to Fickle. Although my shapes in Fickle, I had a whole other ethic around my shapes. I wanted all my shapes to add strength to the skateboard.
Oh, sure.
Core value on shapes at Fickle was boards that are strong that won't let you down and strand you in Poughkeepsie with a broken board on the Friday for a 2-day, 3-day weekend.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Right.
It may or may not be rooted in actual things I saw happen.
Coming straight to you from Lew's history.
I did.
That's
That
hilarious.
never happened to me.
That's really funny.
That never happened to me because back then I used to pick through and find the stoutest, strongest boards at the skate shop.
Hilarious.
And I didn't know it, but I was skating boards that were pressed in Milwaukee and Maine.
How would you gauge it? Would you step on it?
Thickness and stiffness.
That's hilarious.
I was looking for stiff and thick boards that were going to do a great job and not let me down. And then I swapped my boards out, and I used to make sure that I had a friend around who would have a backup for me.
Yes.
In the area where I went, because I traveled a half an hour for the weekend skates with Dave Peeler and Will Lewis and those guys. And they may not know this, but that was a huge deal for a kid who grew up on a horse farm, largely isolated from other people. No little league, no soccer team, no school clubs. Didn't get along with folks. Skateboarding was like my thing.
Yeah.
And so shout out to Dave Peeler. He's still out there in New York. He ran a skate shop for a long time.
Wow, that's
He
cool.
fixes cars and he's pretty smart.
What a guy.
Yeah. Wow.
Does he still skate? Do you know?
I got to take a trip. Yes, he does, and
That's
he
awesome.
rips way better than me. He always did.
Is he your age or
wasn't.
older?
He's my age.
Okay.
So here I am, right?
Yeah.
Thinking about Jason Saleya, thinking about Welcome, and then another brand that we've talked about this week. Heroin comes up.
Sure.
I don't know why, but Heroin and Welcome seem very similar to me because of what I've seen. Red Bull has put out this series with he's a Scandinavian pro, Matters Apps. Matters Apps, and he goes around the world and skates, and he skated with the Osaka Daggers and Heroin Skateboards. Mr. Foster at Heroin Skateboards has done a great job also at not being a renowned skate. You have to realize, like, when I was young, you had Powell Peralta, you had Valterra, Veriflex. You had these companies that were run, they were companies.
Sure.
Then all of a sudden, out of the Bones Brigade and Santa Cruz came Hosoi skateboards.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And then Birdhouse, Tony Hawk.
Yeah.
And you began to have these pros that, you know, Stacy Peralta was a world championship skateboarder, but he was with a corporate company, you know, Powell.
Right.
And at least his name was in it.
Yeah.
You know, and Powell Peralta has done a great job with almost everything they do made in America. So anyways, now we're seeing it's not Hosoi and Birdhouse, and Jamie Thomas is good enough riding for Toy Machine that he gets to start zero, but it's that Jay Slayer's ideas are good enough that he should build a company on them. And Foss, his sense for culture is good enough that he should build a company on it.
Yeah.
You know?
Sure.
Addicted to skateboarding, you know, the displacement argument, not going to bog down in the details because the broad stroke of the thing is really valuable and really good.
Sure.
So, I actually thought of a title for today's episode.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is, I've never done.
Yeah.
Usually afterward we just put something in there.
Yeah.
But today, the title is, They're Not Sending Their Best.
Scathing.
What's awesome is, all right, so that was something that was said almost as a slur against immigrants to America.
Oh.
Okay?
Yeah, dark.
You remember it? That was tough. All right? It's a tough time. We're in a tough time. Let's all hang together.
Yeah.
Right? So this thing got said. The thing is, I work with immigrants all day, all the time.
Yeah.
And I keep saying this thing about the guys. These guys are the best.
They really are.
The craft, the conscientiousness, and the knowledge that I see on a daily basis from the folks I work with humbles me every day.
Yeah.
And maybe when they don't send their best, you are actually getting the best. Maybe in skateboarding, when guys who were never the best come in with ideas like these, we're actually getting something better than the best. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, skateboarding as an industry has begun to change. We're starting to see the long-term success of operations like Welcome and Heroin, and they're doing it on sweet open culture.
Yes.
And somebody like, Lou, you're dumb.
Well,
which is the thumbs up comment. There are at least 75 reasons why that's true at any given moment. So they say, Lou, you're dumb. Skateboarding has always been one giant big loving family where everyone is welcome. Well, sure. You know what? Enjoy that.
Yeah.
That must be nice to believe.
Yeah.
But we're actually seeing an opening of the culture. And then throw on top of this, me just watching this happen, here's a game of skate at the Barracks. I think it was the first one of the present series. They kick it off with Chris Cole versus Mark Suchu.
Yeah.
2 generations, and I'll tell you, they were neck and neck.
Yeah.
2 different styles.
Yeah.
Even though the Barracks is a fairly mainstream standard.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's a competitive format, which is fine. I'm fairly anti-competitive.
Yeah.
You know. So anyways, that was what was sloshing around in the old brain pan this week, you know.
Yeah, it's actually the concept you're bringing up, that you have these companies, Heroin and Welcome, who are finding success inside of the culture, especially as it's opening up and broadening. You know, long term, they're finding success. And then you're seeing these companies that were largely built on clout and nostalgia. Like all these pros starting companies, you know.
At first, it was more clout than nostalgia.
Exactly, and then
just
it turns
clout,
into nostalgia.
The
in
magnitude,
some ways.
the magnitude of like the leap of faith, Jamie Thomas, or like, I mean, so the magnitude of these tricks being done, was inspiring to a generation of people who wanted to see how far it could go.
It was, but you can see how they kind of they kind of turn on themselves and they become a bit of an echo chamber, because their one driving ethos is like, you know, this come correct, it's the level, on and on and on, instead of having this kind of open sourced, open culture ideal, you know, pushing them forward. And a lot of them, like, aren't around anymore. If they are, they're kind of a shell of what they once were, because they can't change.
That is also, though, that is kind of a normal thing.
It is, to some extent.
But what I really saw from it was, like, your skate shop actually hates you.
Dude, that was such a sick t-shirt. Yeah, that's
well,
sick.
The thing is, like, now we have skate shops like Craft Skate Shop near us.
Yeah.
They don't hate us at all. Like,
No.
I come in the door and guy is happy I'm there. I'm way too old. But back in the day, I was only about 8 years older than everyone.
Yeah.
I was 8 years older than the oldest skateboarder back in 2000. And they wondered what I was even doing there.
Yeah.
That was really, really...
That's what I'm
someone
saying.
over 23 is still skateboarding.
Yeah.
You know? And...
you can see that those ethics, there is a purity to them that I can respect, but they completely, they forget, like, business ethics or business thought. You know, like, instead of making the culture as wide and broad as they can to bring in more revenue, they're actually pushing it all down until they've, you know, boiled it down until it's all just like the dry stuff at the bottom of the pan. You know what I mean? Like,
what they're about concentration.
Yes.
They want to concentrate. They don't care if they have 10,000 skateboarders in their scene or just 750.
Yes.
As long as 100% of them are theirs.
Yes.
And they mean not just customer, but culture.
Yes.
And even more important, culture than customer.
Yeah.
If you're not of the right culture, back then,
Yeah.
you weren't even really welcome to walk through the door.
Yeah, it's savage.
And it was a bit savage.
Yeah.
And it was not wise, because a skateboard retailer always ought to be interested in things that create more customers.
Yeah.
Because they're a retailer.
Yes, 100%.
They are not the mayor. They're not a politician.
Yeah.
They are not your dad.
No, dude.
Or your big brother.
Yeah.
They're not a gang.
Yeah.
They're not your community. You are their community.
Yeah.
And they are supposed to make a buck off of you by delivering value to you.
Yeah.
And when skate shops during that time of prowess, when skate shops decided that prowess was going to be the lever to move the
Yes.
gears of history,
Yeah.
you had a very narrow culture. It was all boys.
Yes.
And God help you if you're a fat kid,
Yeah.
untalented.
Yeah.
God help you if you were not brave.
Yeah, or
You know,
or
or-
wanted to ride a bull, or wanted 169s, or wanted 60
Oh, yeah.
millimeter wheels,
Yep.
or wanted
Yep.
anything that wasn't completely
Yeah.
within the domain of what they were doing.
Yeah, history does not reflect well on that era.
No, and it doesn't. I mean, we've talked about this before, but if you just looked at it from a business mind, like if Gary Vee were here,
Gary
he would
Vee.
be like, "Dude, this is so stupid." You know what I mean?
No,
Like,
it would be.
It's completely
Look,
stupid.
If Gary Vaynerchuk
Yeah.
had sat down with me, he
Yeah.
would have liked my ideas, because my idea was, well, all right, so let me get this straight. I literally had one of the hardcore skate shop owners in the coffee shop on the line in front of me, and because of my editorial think pieces on Facebook
Yeah.
and my hosting a discussion about open culture and contrasting it with this,
Right.
I mean, that didn't reflect well on basically his whole deal.
Yeah.
Okay. And I appreciate that. I do. I understand how uncomfortable that must have been. But I put out my hand and I said, hey, let's shake. You and I ought to be friends.
Yeah.
You want to do cool guy, jock skateboard stuff.
Yeah.
By us, for us.
Right.
You're not us, you are. Congratulations, you're in the group. Kick rocks.
Yeah.
You're 86th. That
Right.
was the way of that shop. And
Which
then-
actually has a place
It
in
has
the
a
culture.
place.
It has a place.
There's
Like,
a and I said to him, I said, you wanna be about that.
Yeah.
And I wanna serve the kooks.
Yeah.
I want to serve the disqualified and the fat kid and all these people that to you they're garbage, but to me they're family.
Yes.
Yeah. And I'm saying this to him.
I know.
And his blood pressure's just rising.
I know.
Because it's just like the things I'm writing on Facebook.
Yeah.
And I told him I'm ready to apologize for anything I've written on Facebook publicly. I
Yeah.
won't remove the post. I'll apologize in the post, and then I'll make a new post, and
Yeah.
I'll apologize there.
Absolutely.
I will do a full apology
Yeah.
anywhere that I have, and there are places that I would apologize for.
Sure.
There are definitely things I said during that time that were too far.
Feisty.
Too feisty,
Yeah.
too far,
Sure.
unkind.
Yeah.
I definitely would. In fact, it might be a cool exercise
Yeah.
to go back
Yeah.
and begin to put those apologies out there.
Sure.
That might do me some good.
Absolutely. Close
That
the
might be
circle a little
it
bit.
might be good to do that.
Yeah.
So, but time.
Yeah.
But anyway, here we are, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, wow, you've got skateboarding is so wide right now. You not only have the existence, and Welcome has been around for over 10 years.
Yeah. Absolutely.
They've really tried really hard, and they have hung in there a long time.
Yeah.
It's a hard industry to work in, and they have that creed up on their website, and I think that's inspiring.
It might be a little bit too far in the weeds. I'm probably not the best person to talk about this because I don't care, but I do care. I don't collect the cards, all right? So, but I wonder if Welcome has really stuck to that creed, if their behavior has been totally consistent with it.
I'm not sure that I'm not sure that they can stay in Thrasher
Well, that's the thing.
and stay at that level. They're in that level.
Yeah, they can. That's kind of the thing
and
that I'm
perfectly
identifying. Exactly.
consistently embody that.
Yes.
I'm sure that by now that Welcome has riders that have stories to tell about some cutthroat business thing that went on or something
Right.
like that.
Yeah.
But nobody does anything without someone having that kind of story about it.
Yeah, and I don't need total consistency.
Me either.
That's a ridiculous
Good
thing.
ideas are good ideas.
Well, yes.
They are. And this is very similar in some ways to Fickle's, like, we're not skating at you, we're skating with you ethos.
Yeah.
And paying attention to make sure that we make more skateboarders out of the place we visit
Yeah.
than there were before.
Yes.
Not sure that we were always successful at that either.
That's fine.
But yeah, why even bring it up? No, it's good to bring it
It
up.
is to talk about. I'm interested. Maybe you can help me articulate this thought that I'm having. I'm interested in this idea of these kind of like I am for consolidated. So now I'm gonna own a brand.
King of Town.
King of Town people.
King of Town.
There was this attitude like It's not I deserve to have a skateboarding company brand that is going to be successful. It wasn't deserve, it was
Kind of is.
demand. There was a demand. It was like a
Okay.
total like this has to happen.
One of the ironic things, and with old Lou, you're going to get this. There is a certain respect, and I've said this before,
Yeah, go
but
ahead.
not everyone has listened to every single episode, so I'll say things over and over again. There is a certain respect that I will accord
Sure.
to every person. It's actually a product of my faith that I believe that God created every person
Yeah.
with a unique intent, a plan for your life,
Yeah.
if you will.
If you will. Yeah.
That every person has value that is evidenced by the crucifixion of Jesus.
Yeah.
So you've got a leg up with me,
Yeah. There.
because also being in that faith,
Mm-hmm.
there's this love your neighbor,
Yeah.
but also love your enemy thing
Yeah.
that are really serious. So, in terms of how I process the world around me, there's a huge degree of respect I have. It's really respect for God.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And that bleeds into
Maybe a fear.
absolutely.
Yeah.
That bleeds into the way I'm trying
trying
to
to.
live in my relationships. So you got that. But when a person when they demand cultural dominance, or they demand respect of their decision process,
Yeah.
that's when I enter into a mode of evaluation.
Yeah.
It's not that I'm unwilling to yield to that demand. It's that I will only give my respect to a brand or to cultural leadership, which is what brands are
Yeah.
pretending to do, or a skate shop's choice of sponsor riders, or how these are all things that
Yeah.
I run through a process of personal evaluation. And if I evaluate that out and decide that no, I don't respect that,
Yeah.
then what happens next really tells me a lot.
Yeah.
This happened when I moved to Cincinnati, and I've said this before too. When I moved to Cincinnati, I found out we had a big local hometown hero,
Oh yeah.
and he had ridden AM for Consolidated,
Yes.
and because he had ridden AM for Consolidated, and they neglected to turn him pro, that his next move was to come back to Cincinnati and give back to the community by
Yeah.
turning himself pro for his own new brand.
Listen, dude, I don't want to be mean, okay? I really don't.
We
I
don't
care
like
about
being
this
mean.
person.
Me too.
I'd sit down with him. I have
We
his
love
back.
you, buddy.
I love
We
him.
love you, buddy.
But that is fucking ridiculous, dude.
Aw.
Dude, it's so ridiculous.
Okay.
Come on.
Okay.
Come on.
Okay.
Don't demand it. I respect that, dude.
Then
you weren't
that
even
was-
pro. You were AM.
That was the other thing.
Dude, it's
The other thing was there was a demand at the point of violence.
yes.
For that respect, there were
Yeah.
brawls. There were territorial brawls and
man.
disputes and fights at all the skateboarding events would have a fight. Yeah, it's bad culture, man.
And
It's
dude,
just bad culture.
If I may, if it wasn't a demand, if you had just asked, even if your ideas were bad, if you had just said, "Hey, will you respect me?" instead of "You have to respect me,"
Yeah.
I probably would have. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, this guy's trying to do something. I
Sure.
respect that. That's
Sure.
really hard to do something.
It's not that I don't have any problem in an abstract sense with somebody. I don't think it's very humble in appearance. The optics are not great.
Yeah, sure.
The optics are not great in
Yeah.
turning company. All right, that I
Yeah.
think we can all
It's
agree
fine. Yeah.
that that's not. But then being violently disposed
Yes.
toward those who there were people who would sneer. I didn't sneer about it.
Yeah.
I sneered at the violent and militant disposition of both that person and the community that they coalesced.
Yes.
This real boys club, you need to be. And when something is ridiculous,
Yeah.
here's what happens. People are faced with a decision.
Yeah.
They're either going to behave agreeably toward it,
Yeah.
or they're going to behave disagreeably toward it.
Yeah.
the disagreeable might be the more healthy
Yeah.
response reaction.
Yeah.
So that disagreeableness will mean when something is ridiculous, they will ridicule it, as you just did.
Yeah. It
Right.
wasn't even that scathing. Come
No.
on, man.
No.
Come on.
No. This is not saying God doesn't love a person.
No.
This is not saying you're not important.
I care about that dude.
That's
I'd
right.
be his friend, straight up. But as his friend,
I think
would,
we already are his friend.
I hope so, man.
I do. I think that in a way, us talking about this might be an opportunity for people who are locked into that mentality
Yeah.
to kind of get a
Soften
little
up.
wake-up call and
Yeah.
soften up and humble
Absolutely.
themselves and get onto a different
Absolutely.
path.
What's funny is if we were friends,
Uh-huh.
I would feel an even greater responsibility to tell him that. You know what I mean?
Yes, we admonish one another
Because we love each other.
because we love each other.
Yeah.
And I know that's a bit, you get the pearls before swine
It's
thing.
fine, yeah,
you get that
fine,
sort of thing. But
right.
but so anyway, what I'm seeing is the rage against kooks that
Yes.
characterized 2002, 2003, all the way through 2010
Yeah.
that I saw in the tri-state area.
Yeah.
Tri-skate?
Tri-skate
The
area.
tri-skate area.
Yes.
That rage,
Yeah.
that outrage that these old kooks are coming back,
Yeah.
I see being replaced in the industry and in the culture with not just welcoming.
Yeah.
You realize that by doing a brand called Welcome,
Mm-hmm.
and by having a creed on their website like that,
Yeah.
that's excellent business.
It is.
That is offering service.
Yeah.
Now, I'm no fan of their laminate.
Yeah. Me neither.
In fact, at this point in our broadcast,
Let's do it.
I'd like to talk to you about life skateboards.
Here's one right there.
Here's one right here. This is the board I ride. It's the Panhead XL on a 14.75 wheelbase. It's a full 10.75 inches wide.
Yes, sir.
As Luke said in the last podcast, it has room for activities.
baby.
And there are a whole slew of shapes that you can order from Life Skateboards right on the website www.lifeskateboard.com.
Not skateboard, skateboard.
It's fine,
Yeah,
singular.
it's
Lifeskateboard.com
Yeah.
is where to go to be welcomed onto a really good plank of wood with
Yes.
an even better guarantee.
Yep.
The guarantee is so much better because when you call Life Skateboards, evil. Wow. The phone
I know.
continues to interject its insults to me. Got a low battery warning now. It's fine.
The question is, if it turns off, will
It saves it.
Good.
It does, yes.
Perfect.
So anyways, Life Skateboards is like Welcome on steroids.
Yes.
Because they roll the glue,
Yep.
and they're probably even worse at skateboarding than Jay Slayer.
Yeah.
All right?
It's likely,
They
yeah.
probably are.
Yeah.
They're probably even worse at skateboarding than Foss over there because Sam Cook at Life Skateboards skates every day.
One time.
Twice a year. That's a joke. Sam skates more than that, but at Life Skateboards it's not about how much better than we are at skateboarding.
Yeah.
It's about how well we can serve you with great laminate under
Yeah,
your feet.
for sure.
So thanks to Life Skateboards for making the skateboards that I ride,
Yeah.
that Luke rides, that so many of us ride. And we're humbled and happy that just outside Indianapolis, Indiana,
Yes.
Life Skateboards is crushing out Sam and Casper, who does skate better than Foss and
Yes.
Jason and me
And
and
every
Luke.
day.
And every day. Those guys are crushing up some of the very best in skateboarding lumber. Go on lifeskateboard.com, grab yourself a Life Skateboard,
Yep.
and you will not, it's unregrettable.
Yep.
Unregrettable.
Yep.
All this said, I'm very happy that we're watching what Tony Hawk called a sea change. Tony Hawk was talking on the 9 Club.
Okay.
What's next in skateboard technology? And I'll tell you what's next in skateboard technology. Classic maple skateboards made with love by craftspeople who care about you and who are accountable to you for the quality. That's thing number one.
Yep.
Thing number two is what Powell is up to. Now, Powell is on a whole different thing now.
You think so?
Yeah, because Powell has taken the correct way
Yes.
to build fiber laminates
Yeah.
on a skateboard.
Yeah.
They're doing it the right way. Full tops, full bottoms, full second layers. These are the ways that you put a fiber laminate on there. One of the biggest construction that hit in the 2010s.
Was that a piece of carbon fiber in the middle of the
What
skateboard?
it was they die cut in a carbon plate about an inch inside.
Oh, I remember that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Giving you your seventh layer, your belly of your board was was cut, so you had a ring of maple and you had an insert of carbon, and that is it. It needs to go all the way to the edges in order to pull that edge. It's so wrong-headed, and you'd find guys, and also Almost Impact was another one. They die cut a disc over your trucks.
Oh, interesting.
And people would swear by it. They would swear by it.
Let me ask you this: pressing the decks and then using an epoxy substance to put the carbon fiber sheet on the bottom, the belly, or the back of the deck.
I am not in the decks are made. The Powell flight decks appear to me to be made all at once.
So they're using wood glue to attach the... Okay, go ahead.
It looks like they're using epoxy all the way through.
Okay.
They might be using wood glue and then epoxy on those layers.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
And you know what? Good on them.
Yeah.
Because they're doing it well.
Yeah.
I have found the flight decks early on.
Sure.
They were chippy.
Yeah.
Because they're thin. They're wafer thin. They're about the thickness of a 5-ply board.
Yeah, and maybe because they're using epoxy, it's instead of having a little bit
stiffer.
of... Yeah, it's stiffer.
Maybe harder, maybe stiffer.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of the flight decks because of their edges. I'm not a guy who needs my board to be 2% lighter or 5% or maybe it's 20% lighter.
I skated one that a friend had one time, and it was definitely super crisp and like light. That's the way it felt.
Those are excellent qualities.
Yeah.
Crispness, stiffness, excellent.
Especially if you're down to that flat ground game or rail game. I bet that's a really pleasant feeling for people.
Well, I've been watching Dan Corrigan and DeVille Nunez's YouTube. He's the Powell team manager.
Yeah.
And I just think they're doing just about everything right.
Good for them.
I really do.
That's awesome.
I do. I think they're doing just about every single thing right. They're in the van. They're going places. Their team is full of quirky, interesting people.
How did they survive the onslaught of the 90s culture? Did they toe the line?
I know that Powell did one thing, really cool thing. Steve Caballero stayed with Powell the whole time.
Oh.
He did. He's the only one.
Yes.
And one thing that Powell did was they did a spin-off brand called Red or Black Dragon. Black Dragon. Red Dragon.
And that's
Black
Cab's.
Dragon. That's
boards?
Cab's brand.
Yeah.
All made in China.
Okay.
Kind of a kid's brand.
Yeah.
The other thing they did was they did mini logo, also made in China.
Yeah.
A much higher profit margin on those things.
Yeah.
Those are survival tactics.
Yeah. And they also did like a bunch of, didn't they do like trucks and hardware? And Mini Logo had a bunch of like accoutrements.
Yes. Mini Logo sold everything.
Yeah.
So I know that they had a Chinese lane that was survival oriented.
Yeah.
But now they're coming out gangbusters with products that have real value. See, I'm not even mad about that.
No, that's fine.
I hate Chinese production.
Right.
I hate when industry goes to China. But I've got these 2 sets of wheels that we did last episode sitting here.
Yeah.
And here's stuff made in America, made better in America. And, OJ is a wheel company made in China.
Yeah.
Good on them. Their wheels are okay, and they do an okay guarantee, and I'm not mad about it. But I tell you, when I want to pick a wheel to ride, I pick something made in America. When I want to pick a deck to ride, I pick something that's made in a workshop.
Agreed.
If I can't get a workshop board, I don't think there's an Andy Anderson model that's wide enough for me that I would pick from Powell.
Oh yeah, I don't think so. Yeah.
And my 6-plies that I used to lay up were strong and stiff and disaster certified.
Certified. Yeah.
And I know that Sam, he's heavy-footed and he rides a 6-ply.
Yeah.
If they're wide, they last really well.
Yeah.
But I tell you, I'm more finicky about where something's made and whether or not they actually care about skateboarders and what our industry's going to look like in 20 years. George Powell, for all of the negative things people love to say about him, he has remained remarkably committed to American-made skateboarding stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't see Mini Logo that much anymore. I see a lot of Powell, I see a lot of Bones, I see a lot of Skate One, and I feel a deep respect for George Powell's work.
Yeah.
He wasn't a real skateboarder. And they would just go right there. They would be like, well, George Powell, this and that, and he's not a real skateboarder, and this and that. And I don't prefer the molds that Powell's doing.
Yeah.
Except for one, as kind of blah as I thought the long, flat, and quick kick was of the Powell concave all those years.
Yeah.
The new concaves they're coming out with are really well informed, as far as I can see.
Sure.
And also, those were still boards you could jump on and skate for a long time.
Yeah, and
they were still better laminate.
They weren't different than everything else that everybody else was doing.
They were better.
Yeah.
I had some Santa Cruz boards that immediately pressure cracked.
Yeah.
Says it right on there, made the product of China.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they lived up to it. Now I know that China can make things that are as good as or better than America can make.
Mm-hmm.
China is capable of very good production. But not at that price point. If you're paying $12 a board, you're going to get a $12 board, and then you're going to sell it for $50 on the wall.
100%.
And you know what? Shame on them. Shame on the American brands that sold out their operations to China. Shame on them. Yeah. I don't think they're worthy of respect in that regard.
I would love to see a skate shop. You go in, and on one side of the wall, it says, hey, you have Chinese, Mexican brands. They have that. And then the other side, they have a U.S. flag, and they have all of them made in the United States. It's the lie. Right. I want to clarify my position. I don't like the stuff made in Mexico and China, but I don't mind it if you're just honest about it. And I would love to go in and have an option. Just give me an option. Right. I will pay 25% more to give me the American-made stuff.
All those years.
Yeah.
That Alien Workshops sold decks that had a sticker on them. A little gold sticker that said 100% Canadian maple.
Yeah.
And all those boys swearing by Workshop's American-made decks, and all those Workshop guys around me skating with all those boys, knowing and not saying that those were Chinese wood.
It's the lie, man.
It is shameful.
It is.
And because of that, I don't like anything about now Santa Cruz and Deluxe like Anti-Hero. I have no problem.
They were straight up about it.
Never made any bones admitting that they were getting the best possible Mexican product they could get. They felt it was industry standard. It has been far exceeded in quality by Life Skateboards and their ilk, right?
Yeah.
And always was exceeded in quality by Powell.
Yeah.
Okay, but I'm telling you, like, I want skateboarders. They don't have to care.
Yeah, that's fine.
Just want them to know.
Yeah.
I want them to think. Now, back in the day, I remember 2009, 2008, having this conversation with a board production facility in America, a board factory owner. I was saying this. It was funny because he accused me of not being a real skateboarder if I cared this much about quality.
Oh, my gosh.
They're supposed to break. I remember being pulled aside by a 1980s and 90s era pro skater and him saying, I really love what you're doing. I love what you're all about.
Yeah.
That was very nice. It was one of those sandwiches. It was a correction sandwich.
Yes.
He said, but what you need to do is you need to realize boards need to break before 3 weeks. Otherwise, you're going to go out of business. I don't think it's true.
That's because your price point is so low, you big dum-dum.
Well, what you can do is you can raise your price point, but also you can make your brand all about making more skateboarders.
Yep.
So if your boards last, quote, too long, unquote, be about making more skateboarders. Open skateboarding culture up to everyone.
Yep.
Because industry and market are downstream from culture.
Yes.
If you don't have enough market, then expand the culture. Nope.
Yeah, if you can...
Nope, you're going to get punched in the face in a coffee shop.
Literally, dude, literally. Like, if you could, take 1990 to, like, 2015 and give it, like, a...
The wasted years.
Dude, literally, we crippled ourselves. We were drinking dirty water. The entire thing was, you're not a real skateboarder, and it drove all this garbage, dude.
It was so hip-hop.
Dude, it was so hip-hop, dude.
It was.
I'm
going to compose an album entirely of songs about me being better than different types of people.
Yes.
Dude. I mean, I remember when I first, in the 80s, I started listening to Run DMC. couldn't have been 83. It was
Yeah.
it was like 82. I started
Yes.
listening to Run DMC. 'Cause I was in New York and I was trying to break dance. I was a little
Yeah.
kid.
Well, hold on.
I was a little kid.
Let's just
Fifth
take
grade.
a pause. Did you have a moment in time, like 6 months, where you were trying to learn how to break dance?
I had a 2-year period during which I got kind of good at it.
No.
Yeah.
That's so sick, dude. Dang, that's so. Were you like got a piece of cardboard out and were like hitting it with a boombox?
Yes.
Oh yes, dude, I love you like 15% more.
I
That's
couldn't-
so sick. Dude.
I never did learn to windmill.
Okay, that's fine. You
But
don't
I
need
could
that,
do
dog.
I could do a bunch of it. I
You
love
had the heart.
the pop locking. I like the
Yeah,
pop
dude, the
locking.
pop
a lot.
locking
I did.
tape,
I had
dude.
a bit of a pop locking
A
game.
pop
Dude,
lockathon?
on TikTok, there's this old guy who
Yeah.
does pop locks.
Oh,
You've seen him, I'm
Somebody
sure.
said you were a kick-ass little kid.
Oh, that's nice. You just healed part of my inner child.
Dude.
That's my cousin.
Yes,
On the
dude.
Facebook
That's
Live.
so sick.
She, by the way, was my cool cousin.
Hell yeah.
She was my cool cousin.
She gave you
She
cigarettes?
introduced me to Flirtin' with Disaster.
Oh, hell
the
yeah.
song.
Yes.
She was the coolest cousin ever.
Dude, that's
Still
so
are.
cool.
Still are my coolest cousin.
That's
God
so
bless
sick,
you.
dude.
So anyways,
Go ahead.
here I am, right?
Yes.
And those are the wasted years.
Yeah.
A lot of time, a lot of waste. Those are the years that gave us the scooter kid.
Dude.
The little buck-tooth scooter kid, like, that was legitness.
That was the
Yeah, it
legitness.
was, huh? That
Yes,
kid,
literally.
that kid was not welcome in skateboarding because he was untalented, he
Yeah.
was fat, he was just this little kid.
Yeah.
And by the way, that specific kid from that meme,
Yeah.
that was legitness kid.
Yeah.
He grew up into this big, strapping, handsome lad.
Dude, heck yeah. High fives, man. Good for him.
You know, so when skateboarding, that mainstream, that come correct or don't come at all core,
Yeah.
when they saw kids picking scooters, they didn't reevaluate their failure to welcome people.
Nope.
They didn't. They hardened up and made fun of the scooter kids. They made jokes that not only were hurtful toward the scooter kids, but were also hurtful toward homosexual kids.
100%.
They used homophobic humor to marginalize the scooter kids,
Yeah.
and that just kept that whole bunch of community out of skateboarding.
Yeah.
Then they're going to come out on Facebook and like that with these go skateboarding days and support your local skate shop days
Dude.
of like skateboarding is just a wonderful, accepting family.
Oh my gosh,
I've found
dude.
more love in skateboarding than anywhere else. Yeah, if you're a male,
Yeah.
athletic,
Yeah.
thin, fashionable,
On pills.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah,
And
right.
and you're on on pills.
On pills, right, exactly.
On and on. I mean, this whole thing just rolled like a juggernaut over 15 years of American cultural history.
I have a question for you.
Quest it.
Okay.
Get it, Luke.
I'm looking at the landscape. We have this kind of reawakening happening.
At least here in the upper sanctum. we do.
Yeah, right.
You know.
But you can see, like, it's as if we are, like, just came out of 15 years of having cancer. You know, like,
Of being in a coma?
Yeah,
And
you're
we're all
like,
shriveled
yeah,
up.
Like, all your muscles have atrophied. Like, so, like, how do we move forward from here? I mean, we've
Nice.
crippled ourselves.
Now, let me just make an observation.
Go ahead.
That question is excellent.
Oh, that's awesome.
Excellent.
I'm writing it down. This question is excellent, Luke.
Here's the thing about that question.
Okay.
I'm going to answer it this way. We already are. We're already moving forward. I just watched a Vice News thing about Marby.
Yeah.
Marby still expresses a strong degree of isolation, being
Yeah.
a trans skateboarder.
Oh, I'm sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
There is still a weight of history, and by the way, there's no vindication being offered. It's not like the brands that used to capitalize on that are going to lose a single dollar. They're just going to change their skin,
Yeah.
same lizard,
Yeah.
different color,
Yeah.
and they're just going to see which side of the bread is buttered. It's
Yeah.
up to us to think it through and go, yeah, you know, I'm not going to align myself with brands that are historically blah blah blah.
Yeah.
I'm getting kind of cancely, but it's
Dude,
important
you're moving to the cancel zone.
I'm not a cancel culture guy. I just want to think things through
Yeah.
and make intelligent decisions about them.
Yeah.
And I may be canceled by a lane or two by the time it's over. I mean, are you really living if you
Yeah.
don't?
Come on, man.
And I already have. Oh my goodness gracious! My personal story. I've drank that cup,
Dude.
I drank that
yeah,
cup.
You did, man.
and I'll drink it again. I'm certain that wave will come around again.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it's already happening. Instagram with the high water kids.
Yeah.
The foot plant
Yeah.
the boneless,
Yeah.
the no comply
The
kids,
bottle flip, yeah.
the bottle flippers.
Yeah.
They were the pioneers in my present tiny view.
Yeah.
They in my pinhole camera view of the world.
Yeah.
I see those kids as having been the kids who were like, well, I'm going to put it up on Instagram, and they ate such hate in the comments from people, and just got more and more followers,
and still do. Like, it's insane. Like, if you get on those posts and look, you can scroll through, and dude, people are so savage.
Yeah,
it's a wasteland.
I'm not saying that the world would be a better place if all these 15 wasted year, like 90s core people didn't exist. I don't believe that at all. Nobody disappears.
No.
And people used to tell me when I was in my troubles with the scene, they'd say, "F those guys, Lou. F those guys. F those guys." And I used to say back right away, "No, F nobody. Everybody belongs. Even the people who say that not everybody belongs." This is the problem. The answer is not to eradicate bad ideas from the marketplace. The game is to educate, to think. One of the real features of the core movement in skateboarding was anti-intellectualism. They did not. You weren't one of them if you were thinking about these things. If you were being thoughtful and thinking it through, you could get what they called it around here was they called it getting 86.
So stupid.
And you literally, if you showed up at the spot, they would drop their boards in the bowl on you. If you took,
even more
dangerous.
Honestly, even more dangerous than even more dangerous than that. I mean, straight up death threat level. Like, I mean, it got so.
In my case, it got quite extreme.
I would. You know what I'd love to see moving forward is to have those guys really be enfolded into the culture, and to have some people say, you know what, hey, I got it wrong for a while. I got lost in the weeds. I got lost by the fame and the glory. I was in the fog. I'm coming out of it. I don't even know if I need him to say I'm sorry. It would be amazing just to say, hey, I blew it, but I'm back, and we're going to try to do this. I'm like, high five, dude. Let's get after it. That's so sick.
I got to say, we're rolling out the welcome mat for core skaters who were in the come correct or don't come at all lane, who are waking up and going, you know what? It's time for me to sweeten up and learn how to love my neighbor a little better. Yeah, we're really down for that, and we're seeing it happen. I mean, there is a softening happening almost all over the place. Right now, it's fairly superficial. They just deny that it was ever like that. We've always welcomed everyone. But revisionist history is not going to do you much use when it comes to living the human life. Taking responsibility for the truth of our behavior and the truth of our decisions and the consequences of our ideas. That's what, adulting?
Hush now.
I mean, that's part of it.
I know.
By the way, whoever said that someone couldn't have been wrong and then change their mind and then, make amends?
Super thumbs
Come
up
on
that. We all need a second. Dude, everybody needs a mulligan, man. Everybody needs a mulligan.
A rebate.
Dude, it would be sick to have a company just named Rebate or a Mulligan.
Mulligan Skateboards. Yeah. But, a big hug and a shout out to the grimy, incestuous industry participants who have ruined so many things. We would like to say that you are important and you are valued and you are loved. And that the God who made us all made you too. You may not like or you might love hearing that. But that's the truth about you. You matter, and you were built for more than cultural dominance and market territory. You were built for more than clout. You were built for way more than those things. And yes, I would say it's probably solid ground that you traded really important things for really not important things. Take responsibility for it. And we would love to be encouragement to you along the way.
Absolutely.
And we are your friends.
Absolutely.
We've been your friends the whole time. You might not have been ours. You may have worked against us in life because of your sense of business. You mix them up.
And it's easy to do. Like, if we can just take a second. it's easy to get lost inside of a culture where you're the king of it. It's easy to have the thrill of power overcome your ability to think critically about business or about the way that you treat other people.
Or to think morally.
Or to think morally. And these things are incredibly important. And dude, all kinds of people wasted way longer than 15 years and came around the corner and started again. Today's a new day. And we got your back. It's everyone only, baby. You're on the team. You're in the boat, but you can't be a dick.
No, I mean, unless you're gonna be.
Yeah, and then we'll talk about it.
You know, most people who are gonna be that way anyway.
Yeah.
We deal with that as it comes.
Yeah, and that's okay.
You know, we'll deal with it as it comes.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not the kind of guys who go out elbows out trying to enforce things.
No.
But we are the kind of guys who will. You know, we'll gently chide.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
We maybe a bit of good-natured heckling.
Yeah, 100%, dude.
We're fairly reliable for that.
And there's a sense, if you can really kind of rein back and come to like a 35,000-foot view, there is an aspect to a person's character that drives them to be like a come correct person. There are aspects of that I can actually really appreciate. Not the outworkings of it, but the hey, I really believe in something. I'm really invested in this. This is really a big part of who I am, so I want it to really feel legitimate, that I actually think are really cool. And
dedication.
Yeah, dedication.
It might be misguided, but it is a display of dedication.
And I can say thumbs up to that, man. Like
in a way.
In a way.
It's misguided.
Absolutely. It's misguided. I don't like the direction, but I like aspects of what's happening. You know?
That's like me saying like what was my favorite thing that I didn't? The fact that they were making it.
Oh, what was it?
It was last episode.
But I respect it.
I respect the fact that the direction you're going.
Yeah, don't like it.
The whole culture you've created.
Yeah.
I don't like it, but the fact that you created it, I have a certain respect for that.
Yes. I hope it wasn't.
It's a bit backhanded.
Yeah, it's fine. But that's the point. That's the point.
That is the point.
Because we can't thumbs up it without thumbs down in parts of it.
I had a young man riding for my company who was just about the wittiest person I've ever known. He was so witty.
Yes.
He was a close friend. He was younger than me. He was 19, 20, 21, 22 during that time. This guy was so witty. And one day he said, "No disrespect intended, but I don't respect that." It was chef's kiss.
Yeah.
And I've used that as a filter.
Yeah.
Where I, hate to break it to you, friend, but I am not agreeably inclined to your assertion.
Yeah.
However, I am affectionately inclined toward your personhood.
Yeah.
That's, I think, something that makes me hard for a lot of folks to understand.
On both sides of that coin.
Because
absolutely.
I will speak my mind. By the way, we say whatever we want to. We can say what we want.
Insert Andrew Roy voice.
We are saying what we want to because we are certified experts.
Oh gosh.
In our own opinions.
Yes, dude.
Okay.
Yes, we're on the bleeding edge.
We
of our own opinion.
We are cutting edge masters of our own opinions here on the CapmLew podcast.
Absolutely, baby.
And that is always for what it's worth.
Yes.
That might hit crisp for some.
Yes.
But for people it hits flat with.
That's fine.
We're down. We would simply remark that you are still listening.
Yeah, it's kind of on you, dog.
Yeah.
It's kind of on you, dog. Yeah, what do you want? Just turn it off.
You could just turn it off.
You go away. You can do whatever you want.
Because our emails are stacking up with all this. It's a sewer of hatred.
Dude, amazing, dude. I really think that the nuance that we're bringing to this conversation is hypercritical, not only inside of skateboarding, but inside your life.
Hypercritical nuances.
Dude,
offered for free at no charge.
Dude, at no charge. Oh my gosh, 20% off right now for a limited time. I think it's so important, and we've talked about this 100 times, but I think it's good to reiterate. We should work to think in such a way that we can take in the grayness that is our world and the things that we're thinking about, and to say, yes, we agree with that, and no, we don't agree with that. Because if we lose that ability, we'll be in an ocean of chaos. And actually, in human history, really gnarly things happen when an entire people group decide that things are black and white in a whole majority or a whole array of ways.
When they levy force.
Yes.
when they levy force,
Yeah.
Points of force
Yeah.
are extremely important. I had a guy one day was way back in 2000 was telling me, oh, 2002. Oh, this guy is king of town because he rode Amfer Consolidated, and he came back. He wanted to give back to the community, so he turned himself pro on his own brand, and now he's the kingmaker in town, and all this. And then within some years, 5 years of that, he was, had to deal with Adidas going for, and all this stuff, and
right.
and
Just keep it core.
you had this whole. It was maybe 10 years later, whatever. You have these kingmakers who are, he sent out a few people who became pro for the likes of Habitat, and Creation skateboards and like that. So he was a minor kingmaker in the industry.
Yeah.
Well spoken of by everyone, which, by the way, that's a liability.
That's bad. Yeah.
You want to watch out when everyone speaks well of you. Anyway, so in that conversation, I was just put on notice, absolutely, because I said what you said.
Yeah.
I said, turn himself pro. I'm from New York.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Come on,
And
man.
nothing like that flies.
Yeah.
Or back in the 80s, nothing like that flew
Yeah.
in, we knew we were nobodies. We were the little brothers of the guys that were starting everything.
Yeah.
And none of us were going to pretend we were pro for something.
Yeah, come on, man.
And even the guys who were like the best of the best,
Yeah.
at most, they got a clip in a Thrasher video.
Yeah.
Really, skateboarding, it devours people who are on that, trying to,
Yeah.
it's really tough on people.
Yeah.
And God help you if you're successful, you get a tiger by the tail. But I was in that moment in that conversation, and the guy put me on notice. He said, you'll get beat up if you don't respect that.
Yeah.
And that was years before my friend said, no disrespect intended, but I don't respect that. But I watched, there were enforcers, lower talents,
Yeah.
filmers and like that. Some
Yeah.
of them got to go work for brands and
Yeah.
like that. And those enforcers would come back through social media or just through the power of slander.
I know.
And they would destroy people's reputations and slander them.
Yeah.
It was a very ugly and damaging thing. And
Yeah.
when skateboarding is your people,
Yeah.
those attacks are fearsome.
Yeah.
They're fearsome
Yeah.
in nature.
Yeah.
Skateboarding is not actually my people. I've got to cheat because I am a member of the communion of saints.
Yeah.
My real membership lies not in this world or this realm. It lies beyond this realm and after all this mayhem.
Yeah.
And so losing in business and in skateboarding and being threatened and menaced and destroyed in those arenas, well, that's just the way of my people.
And according to that way, it's a win in a lot of ways, especially for the reasons that you were doing it.
There
hard
was
to see in the moment, but absolutely true.
It was painful.
Oh my gosh!
And by the way, Arena, Coliseum,
Yeah, I know.
Gladiator,
I know.
persecute. You
Yeah,
got
I
that
know.
thing there.
I
That was
know.
always an element. Is that this guy's
Yes.
a Christian?
Yeah.
And for that, I don't make a big deal about that. I don't feel like this is about that. It's about an anti-intellectual, counterproductive culture that has been softening.
Yes.
They built their fences out
Yeah.
of chicken wire, but
Yeah.
a tsunami of diversity and creativity came. The waters are rising. And so how we move forward from here as skateboarding,
Yeah.
is we recognize we aren't skateboarding. We are people.
Yeah.
And playing with skateboards together is fun.
So fun.
Fun for a girl and a boy.
Yeah.
And we don't care about all the other stuff. It's fun for you Democrats. It's fun for your Republicans. It's fun for your trans kids and your gay kids and all of your letters
Yeah.
and all of your alphabet people. And it's
Yeah.
fun for all you straight kids who used to make fun of all those people
Yeah.
and make sure that and girls and women and used to make sure for decades that they were as uncomfortable as possible. Now we're learning, we're growing as a people. And I think that watching Chris Cole and Mark Suchu battle in the battle at the barracks, in conjunction with watching the Vice thing on Marby and her Crux truck, watching this is indicative that those high water those high water foot plant kids.
I know.
With the no comply kid thing.
Yeah.
On Instagram, they really were part of something. And for all the hate that they get in their comments,
Yeah.
I want this episode to go out and to give props.
Yeah.
Because, you know, the whole, they're not sending their best.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Thank God that the best companies with some of the best culture aren't started by the best people.
Yes.
I think it was a huge mistake, unavoidable mistake, but it was a huge mistake to decide who our industry and culture leaders would be based on how good they were
I know.
at flipping their skateboard. Now, I'd like to take this opportunity to turn you guys on to something super cool that's coming out soon. Everything Skateboarding Magazine is coming out. It's an online magazine. Rumor has it that the first issue is going to be like 400 pages of well-formatted for watch it looking on your phone.
Dude, 400 pages.
It's
is
cool.
Insane, yeah.
It's really cool. It's going to have all of the skateboarding in it. It's going to have the freestyle, the slalom, the downhill. It's going to be eclectic
Yeah.
in its disciplines and its cultural focuses. And issue number 2
Yeah.
is already starting to fall together.
Of
And
course.
it's got a historical perspective that's going to reacquaint people with the 1960s.
Yes.
And the people who, they're not going to be around much longer. These folks are really getting up there.
Yeah.
And fresh interviews with historic skateboarding founders, personalities, pioneers, however you want to put it. I'm excited. Bud Stratford over at Zeppelin Aero Works is coming. I just saw on the Facebook live feed the question, will it ever be in print? I know that there is a degree to which print copies can be obtained, but they are probably going to be very, very expensive.
Yeah.
A 400-page book, well, we've got that going on. A 400-page book is a pretty serious printing cost.
$100, yeah.
So I know it'll be probably fairly historic.
Yeah.
I'm very humbled. We're supposed to put together a page ad for
It's
that.
on the thing. It's on the list.
Do you think we can pull it off?
I think so.
All
So
right.
Why not?
All right. I just want it to be the picture that Wayne Wells of the Welfare Line drew. It's down here.
Yeah,
It
that
fell
one down
down
there.
last week.
Yeah, sure.
I want it to be that.
Okay.
CapmLew podcast is supposed to get a full pager in there.
Sure.
And Bud was even so kind as to reach out and invite Life Skateboards to have an ad in.
That's awesome.
And I told Casper that today.
Oh, good.
I was very happy.
Sure.
I really think highly of Bud Stratford. And by the way, if you look up Bud Stratford and go read things he's written all the way back to 2000,
Dude.
that guy.
I know.
That guy is. I mean,
Pinnacle, dude.
He's spicy.
He doesn't give a crap.
And he does not.
It's awesome, dude.
People will read that and steam will come out their ears.
I know.
He made steam come out of Per Wellender's ears.
It's good for him. Dude.
It's good.
Yeah, he's kind of stood as like a.
Oh, he's
the epitome of FU attitude.
of
It's
oppositional
amazing.
defiance.
Yeah,
but it's not disordered. It's not.
completely. It's awesome.
Bud Stratford's work on the cancellation of Jason Jesse.
Yeah.
Chef's kiss.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. The guy, I'm telling you, I count him among some of my very favorite friends.
Yes.
And we're grateful. Finishing up, we're almost there.
We're almost there.
We are grateful and happy that we're switched over to Spotify.
We are.
It feels great. We're happy for the technological glitches and some of the texture of where we are.
Yeah.
We are extremely grateful to Life Skateboards for their support, and we could not recommend more highly that you get a workshop-made skateboard deck under your feet.
Yep.
So many layers to how wholesome and good that is for you.
Yep.
We're happy and grateful about Zeppelin Aero Works, tiny boutique brand project rooted in skateboard history.
Yep.
Stuck me on the roster among some of the historic greats.
Yep.
It's a travesty, right? You know what travesty means? An embarrassing
Yes.
thing.
Yeah,
It is. But yeah, we are also grateful to you, dear listeners. We are amazed that we are getting feedback from people. Got a call last week
Yep.
from someone who said, "I'm going back and listening through your podcast. You know, and boy, it sure helps that you moved your lav mic, you dumb dummy.
Dude, it really did. I was listening to some of the older ones today as I
They're
was downloading.
terrible.
Oh, they're bad, dude.
Terrible.
It's hilarious.
And we're committed to making the podcast better and better for you, dear listener and viewer,
Yep.
as we go. I thought we had like $700 in the bank account. It's more like $400, so it doesn't look like GoPros are really on the menu.
It's fine.
Or laptops.
Yeah.
But I like where we are. I like
Yeah,
you.
Yeah, I like you,
Thanks
my dude.
for being here, my brother.
Absolutely, dude.
Well, so for what it's worth,
Yes.
if you listen this far, it's on you. we should tell you in the beginning that we are certified experts in our own opinions on things.
Cutting edge.
And we can say what we want.
Yep.
So if you listen this far, that's on you. This is CapmLew for what it's worth, signing out.
Quickly,
Yes.
just so everybody knows, we are on Spotify. There is a video product on Spotify. It's going to be nice and clear and crisp. We're also on YouTube if you want to watch a video. We're on Apple. We're on Google. We're on Spotify. I already said that. The only thing that's going to change is we're not going to be on Podbean anymore. But I don't think anybody was listening on Podbean.
Nobody's going to miss Podbean.
No, including us, especially us. So, and if you got a question or a comment or a thing you want us to talk about, send it over to CapmLewQuestions@gmail.com.
CapmLewQuestions@gmail.com.
Yep, we'll be there.
Yep. Check us out on Instagram, the CapmLew Podcast.
Yes.
On Tik-Tok at the
Yeah.
CapmLew Podcast. There's nothing new on there.
It's fine.
Yes, it is fine. But
fine.
soon there will be show clips.
Yes.
Because of this format change,
this will be way
we're
easier.
coming into some sort of a capacity to put show clips
I
on
know.
there.
It's
And the
amazing.
last time we shared some show clips, things got spicy.
Oh, yes.
I like the spice.
Yeah, me too, absolutely.
Bring the noise.
Bring the thunder.
All right. Thanks, everyone, for what it's worth. CapmLew.
Laters.